As you can hear, we're outside with the birds. I got my tea, and it gathered me already this morning. Like Yogi's tea. Forgiveness is an act of consciousness. What I'm talking about today requires me to be in a state of forgiveness. It requires me to tell my own testimony. So this is actually inspired by Tanner Adele, who I love dearly. Like, she was family. Like, she's a sister. Like, she's a friend I grew up with. She makes me feel so seen as this like quirky, like different, like stands all the way out, in the best of ways kind of girl. I did her first live reaction video, for those who don't know, like how this whole, like me and Tanner even talking, in any capacity, her even knowing who I was, happened. I did her first live reaction video, which I didn't know it was her first, to her song FU150 when the video dropped, and it became this whole thing. And you know, I followed her from when she did Love You Little Bit, like had been like, who is she? Like, she's gonna be major, like all this stuff. And then by the time I did that, um, you know, hit after hit, like the song she was like fighting for, she was fighting for Buckle Bunny, like, and that was a whole process. So when Buckle Bunny dropped, I went hard in the paint for Buckle Bunny. I was so excited. Because I think I had even come late to that ordeal and like how long she had been fighting for it. But I was like, I've done a podcast episode on it where I talked about it. I've done blog posts on it where I like break it down. And so I really want to do one on Going Blonde, but I think I want to do this video first. I think I owe it to our inner children, me and Tanner's, and anybody else who potentially has a story similar to this. Hers is an adoption story. Mine is not an adoption story, but it is. I realized yesterday that I don't have abandonment issues anymore, and it, like, something unlocked in my brain. And so I've been sitting with that because, like I said, for those who don't know, so my dad is my dad. Like, the person I call my dad, y'all see me posting all the time, that is my dad. That's Superman. I'll fight you over him kind of vibes, right? Like, and I giggle when the comment is like, you look so much like your dad, because in my head I'm like, that's always a reminder to me that, oh, like, biologically, like, I don't think that's possible because he's not my biological father. And it's not like woe is me and anything like that. It's just like something that, like, I forget because he's been in my life as long as he has, literally since like I was very, very little. Pretty sure a baby, and he's like my favorite person on this whole planet. And it's so funny because, like, I feel like if people saw us, they'd be like, y'all aren't even that close. I'd be like, we speak a completely different language than I think my mom and my brother speak, than like me and my mom speak. Like, it's very different. Like, we're both so like so laid back that I feel like that's why people are like, oh, you're so much like your dad, or you look like your dad, because like we have the same kind of stoic expression, but we're probably like two of the kindest people you'll ever meet, two of the most social people you'll ever meet in this family, yes. And so and tech savvy, oh my gosh. But in order for me, because he's the first person that taught me unconditional love. Before I had a relationship with God, that is the man that taught me unconditional love. He loved and loves my mom and I and my brother. Like, I mean, like, my brother is literally his blood, but like, I'm saying, like, the way he loved my mom from jump, like, and me, yeah. That used to be like my Will, is what I used to call him, and I still have her, my Minnie Mouse, but with her twinkly little twinkle stars. I will never get rid of her. I don't care if the batteries run out on that thing. I love her. But I always think, when I think about Minnie Mouse, I think about him, because he gave me that, and it was so special to me, and I always used to play her. But, you know, it took me a long time I didn't want a relationship with my biological father. I still don't to this day, and I feel like some people will feel a type of way about that, but it's a decision I made at 11. It's a decision I think about like every so often, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, every so often it like comes back up, and I'm just like, no, I'm good. Because even at 11, at 11 or 12, I think I told my mom, I was like, she's like, like we could, like, do you want me to, like, stay in contact, like, past, like, a certain age or anything like this? And I was like, no, he made his decision. I was like, he can live with, I basically told her he made his decision, he can live with it, and I was good. And she didn't have to keep, like, in contact with him. So, to my surprise, uh, last year, I think, and I told my mom like months after I did this, but last year I got a follow from somebody with my last name, and I knew my biological father's first name, and I was like, no. I was immediately no. I was like, why, where do you even come from? And proceeded to block him. Before y'all yell at me, it was one of those things where I said, all this time, and like, you're trying to connect, like, I know you know where my mom is at because you used to send letters here. I was like, I don't, and all that time, like, and I don't know if like my mom ever discussed it, I don't know if my parents ever discussed like me meeting him or anything like that. I just like, I never felt like, it's so funny because I have abandonment issues from him, leaving my mom when he did, after finding out she was pregnant with me. But like, I don't have a lack of love when it comes to like my dad. It's not something like my dad should have loved me more than da da da. No, that's Superman. Like, no, absolutely not. Do we butt heads because we're so similar in personality? Yes, absolutely. Like, have been in screaming matches before. That's besides the point. But it wasn't that. Like, I had abandonment issues because I think it was just trauma, like ancestral trauma, things from like, even though like I like made that decision, it doesn't take away from the grief that you feel that somebody literally knew you existed and decided to walk away and you did nothing. Like, it doesn't take away from somebody deciding, I'm good without you, and you're their little child. And I don't think he said it that way, but it's just the feeling of like, I'm not even gonna put forth the effort to try to be different, to try to be there, like physically present. Because I don't know if he tried or not. I don't know his side of the story. But I was like, I just struggled with caring, like not dealing with that grief. I think because I was like, I have love in my life. I have my dad, I have my mom, I have my like little brother. He's 5 years younger. I was like, like I shouldn't be feeling these things. And so I always stuffed them down. And I think that's really where my abandonment issues are. I never let myself grieve that he did that to me, like properly. And so like because I kept stuffing it down, it just kept growing larger and larger and larger. And it started showing up in like dating life and in like me keeping jobs for entirely too long and staying in toxic environments, and in me, like, it impacted more than I realized because I was not dealing with that uncomfortable emotion. Change is only as hard as you make it. I'm not saying it's still not kind of hard when you go through it and like you accept that you want to do this, but like it really is only as hard as you make it. As long as you continue to not give in, to surrender, it like feels like you're being dragged through the mud. Okay. I don't know any other way to put it. So I was talking last night, and I was talking to one of my friends that I met about a month ago, and we were just chatting, and I was like, I don't have abandonment issues, like really casually, I don't have abandonment issues anymore. And I sat there and I was like, I don't have abandonment issues anymore. And this forgiveness is a conscious choice reminder stems from, I prayed for my biological father for the first time in my life last year. I remember I was on the floor in tears, swinging my arms, on my knees, crying over his family, praying over who he was, praying that he'd be okay. I've never met that man a day in my life. I've never personally spoken to him that I can remember, but I prayed for him, and I was like, I've forgiven him, like, and like coming to that realization of like forgiving somebody who just made the choice that they made and have to live with it. Like, I think listening to Tanner's story made me realize, like, as much as I like don't want a relationship with him, I am glad to know he is still, walking around this earth somewhere, hopefully having a better relationship with his kids that he has now, and his family, hopefully his wife. I believe my mom said he was married. You know, and like maybe I have siblings out there that I don't know about. Now I'm not saying I'm like totally against meeting my siblings. Like I am, I have a big family, but there's just something about like keeping him at this distance, because it's like it's one of those things where I'm genuinely like, you made your choice, and like I don't care what changes. I wish you all of the best, and I'm like this with like anybody that I forgive or who hurts me or anything like that. Like once that choice is made and I walk away, like I don't go backwards. I don't go back. And so I'm like, I wish you the best. I pray for you, but like I'm not coming back. I'm not like, you don't get access to me anymore. I'm not saying if I see you that I'm gonna like just like ignore that you exist in public. It's more of like, I don't feel the urge for somebody to know me who made a decision before I could even talk, that I wasn't important enough for them to stay as a child. And I think that's how I feel about like friendships when I end them and stuff too. I don't always handle friendship breakups and any breakup properly, but like as far as like some of the choices I've made, I've been like, oh my gosh, girl, please, we could have done better. But I'm never like, oh, I should have given them more access to me. I'm like, I tried when I tried, and then when I was, done, like I was like, and it felt like this was going nowhere, and it was hard to even like stay here. Like I'm making the best decision for me, and I'm feeling called to go this way, and it has nothing to do, like I don't think you're a bad person. Like I will talk about behaviors and actions before I talk about somebody's character, because like honestly it's not my place to judge. I'm more of like, you made that choice and these are the consequences. And there's some environments when I get in, like I evolve and I change and I like heal. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be in this anymore. I need to leave. People are all wrapped up in it. Yep, I'm gonna exit. I'm making my exit. A quiet exit. What is it? Quiet quitting? I'm quiet quitting, but quitting nonetheless. Yeah. I didn't realize this was gonna turn into this kind of video. I haven't ever talked about this for this long. I think I might have touched on it in podcast episodes, but like I just and I'm never without love. Like between God, between my family, between like the friends that I have now, like I am never without love. Like, oh my gosh, like my circle now, like all my favorite person in the whole world, like I am never. And how I love myself, the fact that I love myself, like, and nobody could take that away from me. Like nobody could make me go, oh my gosh, I hate myself, oh my gosh, I should have like what. And I don't look like what I've been through, I promise you. Like if I told my full testimony, y'all would be like, Sydney, what? Because for me to still be this gentle, this soft, this gracious, this kind, this patient, like when I tell you some of the things I've been through would make you think I should be anything but that. But yeah, I thought this was going to be more about me giving Tanner and her mama her flowers, but Tanner's telling her story and inspired me to tell mine. And those are the type of people that I love in my life. Like, yes, you inspire me to do something that scares the mess out of me, because I'm sure people are gonna have words. I'm sure people know from my past probably are gonna see this video and like have thoughts and be like, and come through anonymously or through like pages behind other usernames and stuff that has actually happened before. That's why I'm saying that. And at the end of the day, to those people, you don't know my side of the story. Just like I don't fully know theirs. I don't know what they told you. I can't I can't dictate how they felt about the situation. What I can say is I made the choice that I made, and I'm living with it. I'm comfortable with the choice that I made. I have forgiven myself for the mistakes that I have made. And I pray that one day they forgive themselves for the mistakes they've made, the people they hurt. But yeah, to be honest, I think the abandonment issues hit me hardest in my career. I didn't even know that was possible. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it, but yeah, me and like centering my career and not God is why God had to strip me from it and make me completely new. That's a different story for a different day, but absolutely the way I stayed in toxic work environments for like 6 years of my life. And now I'm doing so much of what I love. Sorry, all of them, like my nose is running and stuff. And I'm so proud of the past versions that helped me get to this point, because I mean, at my childhood home where I made that decision, I'm in my mom's garden where I've healed time and time again, and I know she can probably hear me because she's in the living room. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that God is the center of my life, and He forever has my yes, hallelujah, and amen, because He brought me into the families He brought me into. And I do say families plural because I get to be the generational curse breaker, not just for my family, my mom's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, but also like more families. Like, I don't get to, just because I'm telling my story, because I'm healing, a lot of the families that I touch, the people that I'm talking to, they start to heal too. So I've been through some hard things, like some, what? And I always think about that. God had me go through it because somebody needs to hear it the exact way that I can deliver it. And it'll help them heal too, and they won't have to go through it alone like I did. So when I say I'm a sniper with my prayers, when I say I'm a prayer warrior, a warrior period, like, I'm not the damsel in distress, I'm the damsel that's gonna burn the whole bridge down. All of it. There's no gonna be no resemblance of a bridge. It'll be okay. It's because God made me that way. Don't let the meekness and, well, not even meekness, I can't even say that anymore. Don't let the gentleness of my voice fool you. Try Jesus, not me. That's the best way I can say it. So yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for being patient. My post itself is probably going to be way more focused on Tanner and going blonde.